Yeah. This is for all you non-philosophizing black sheep, unwelcome, pushed to the side motherfuckers like me.
Fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah. Fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way. Ha ha ha. Let's get down to business. These bitches got glitches. And you thought you'd dismiss us? Nah. Now I'm laughing in stitches. See, the problem be, it'll be a tragic travesty to come after me. So just know this is how we get down. Respect that shit like a pronoun, bitch. Yeah. Fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah. And fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah. Fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah. Fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way.
Yeah. Fuck what they say. What up, Tang Gang? It's your girl, Jena. Nice to see y'all. I see y'all coming over, showing your girl some love. You know, shout out to Bitty Buddha, her channel. You know, I know most of y'all were jumping off from the live stream with Pat Lowinger. I'm a fan. Pat threw it down with some magic history teaching. So kudos, Pat Lowinger, Bitty Buddha doing their thing on the Bitty Buddha channel. And if you are not subscribed to the Bitty Buddha channel, I don't know what the fuck you doing. That is our sister channel, girl. You need to subscribe to that shit because they be doing the real stuff. Because, you know, Oz will get on you. That to Oz, that's baby sis. So if you ain't subscribing, you ain't showing love. I heard they just got monetized too. Come on. Y'all doing something wrong if you ain't checking out Bitty Buddha and Pat Lowinger. For real. No. And just in case you don't have the link, I'm just going to go ahead and pop it in there for you. So you know what to do. Go subscribe. Give them your money. You know, do what you want. But seriously, show them some love. That's the sister channel to Tang. You know, Bitty started here. She's doing her own thing with Pat. And it's fire. You know it is. And, you know, I learned. Oh, there, you see, there's Pat Lowinger right there. He'll tell you. He'll tell you. Let him tell you. I ain't got to do any talking. No, that was a great stream, Pat. I know I asked a question about, you know, the more well-known practitioners of magic, and obviously it's women. We're we do the most good and the most fearsome things all the time, and we just don't give a fuck. Hashtag not ladylike. Anyway, moving on. I won't go through any announcements for like upcoming shows or whatever, because I'll keep this roughly around an hour, because I'll be coming back after with Ozzy on the Ozone, because we're gonna I had to shill him a lot of interesting stuff from Jew 3 Project channel. I'm on their dick right now. I can't help it. It feels good to be on their dick sometimes. That's really not ladylike. But I'm just saying they just have some batshit crazy stuff. Black Christian apologetics is like no other bullshit I ever heard of. For real. Like, I'm going to be on that dick for a while. Anywho, super chat. Oh, Pat, look. And this is how sister channels show love. Pat Longer, $5. We love Jena. She is the real OG of Tang. Aw, I appreciate that. Thank you. Even though I'm not really OG, I think you have to classify being OG if you have been here originally. And I only started like maybe a few months ago. And somehow I've just taken over the channel, cleaned up some shit, doing my own shit. Because, that's what Black women do. They take over shit. Hey. No, it's kidding. Thank you. I appreciate the love. And of course, I appreciate, what you and Biddy do independently, obviously. But let's say hi. I see you, Uncle Beck. I see you, Dr. Ben. I see you, Aunt Jer. Aaron. Aaron. Vin, I can't help but say that name. Key and Peele fucks you up because ever since, and y'all know if you've seen Key and Peele show, you if you just don't know, then that's on you. But I will never look another Aaron in the face straight ever again in my life. It's always going to be Aaron. And if I ever have a son, I may jokingly name him that. And I will spell it as Aaron, but I will put the little dashes to make it, plainly clear that it is Aaron. That's how ghetto I am. Bill Castle, $5 super sticker. Thank you, Bill. You come in for a sister. You really do. Much love. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. I see you, Megan. Hi. Oh, Secular Rarity. I saw you. I'm scrolling through comments to say hello to folks as you filter in. Bolt, I see you now. Hi, Bolt. It's good. I haven't seen you in a while, Bolt. It's good to see you. Nice to see you. I think Ashley. I saw Ashley commented at the top. Hello, Ashley, if you're listening. Megan, I see you. All right. Well, everyone else that comes in late, and it's on you because Tang game may start late, but your sister start on time. It's weird. I don't follow CP time. Sometimes I do. I don't know. It depends, but not here. Because you deserve better. No, I'm not talking shit. Don't tell Oz, okay? Just don't tell him. Anyway, announcements later for upcoming shows. We have a busy week this week. Good shows this week, but we'll announce those later when Oz and I do the Ozone after this. So we're gonna roughly keep this an hour. So let me hop into this bullshit. If you don't know, I'm gonna learn to. We're gonna listen to a atheist testimony. And I titled this because this particular individual was labeled an atheist and is now a Christian. Surprise. And he gives his, testimony, shares his story of how he converted to Christianity. Surprise. So we'll get to know this gentleman. His name is R. York Moore. Or Ran York Moore, or he goes by just York Moore. I have a little bio. I'll just read it briefly and we'll kind of jump into, his conversion story into Christianity. R. York Moore is an innovator, strategist, revivalist, and abolitionist. That's a lot of words. He is the president and CEO for the Coalition for Christian Outreach. He is the author of whatever book. I don't care. I'm not going to read it. York serves on a variety of boards focusing on missions, community development, and evangelistic innovators. Girl can't read today. Sorry. My contacts are a little blurry. Should have put some more eye drops. I'm going to read that again. York serves on a variety of boards focusing on missions, community development, and evangelistic initiatives. I still didn't say that right, but fuck it. We're going to move on. York Moore is a conveyor. Can't read. Is a conveyor of leaders for evangelism. I'm gonna stop reading. We're fine. We're getting the idea. Basically, this guy's an evangelist. I read more about him the other day when I came across this video by none other than Jude 3 Project channel on YouTube. God, they just pick some pickers, I swear. Basically, a lot of his career focused on evangelizing to college students. because, and you'll find out through his story, which I'll display in a minute, where he found God the second or third time. I don't know, I lost track. And I guess through that discovery of finding Jesus, hashtag Jesus, he turned that into, a movement, preaching, and he transformed that into wanting to be one of the top leaders in Christian collegiate evangelism. And he has a YouTube channel, relatively small, has a few videos about it, didn't really look through it, didn't really care, yada, yada, yada. But it's quite interesting, and it's a typical anecdotal story. And when I say anecdotal, I mean anecdotal. Like this whole premise of, I was once an atheist, my parents were atheists, they didn't care about my life. It's like almost a basic PragerU interview. Have you ever seen those PragerU interviews of like regular folks? I remember there was one recently, about a few months ago, of this like one young white woman where she was like, oh, my parents were atheists. They didn't care about what I did in life and whatever. So I just always had fun and did drugs and had tattoos and partied. Yay. And then I found God and then I transformed my life. It sounds basically like that, but in a male voice. I'm not joking. Not joking. So, and it's hard to decipher through all the bullshit because I swear there's never any true evidence of someone finding God, whether it be Christianity, Islam, what have you. And it's always anecdotal. That is just in my lexicon now. I can't say the proper name anymore. Thank you, Oz. Or thank you, Dore, I should say. It's always going to be someone's own personal testimony when it comes to someone finding faith or refinding faith. And it's a similar case here. And I don't knock anyone having their own personal testimony or story or whatever. I will take you at your word that you believed this happened to you. I trust that you believed this happened to you. I won't knock that. I won't shame you for it. I'll talk shit, but I won't shame you for it. But it's still not enough to, hear or otherwise convince anyone of there being a God. That's just your own personal God. Right? Am I missing something? Because how is that ever going to be enough for it to carry on to anyone else? Excuse me one moment. Okay, I thought I had a thing, but I don't have a thing. That's okay. We're cool. We can move on. Thank you, girl. I need to talk to you. You have my email, Carlita. Mind you, you have my email. We need to talk. But actually, that's enough for me to premise everything. Again, I don't shame the story. I trust this is the story that he grew up on, blah, blah, blah. But I will tell you, I don't see how this is any way, shape, or form convincing of anyone else. Anyway, it's not even that. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking and just share my screen. And again, I did not have this already prepared. #professional. One of these days, we're going to get Robert Reed on this channel. We scheduled him before, and, shit happens. It's life. And we just, Oz is so in love with Robert Reed. It's almost like he watches him on a daily. And if you don't know Robert Reed from Gin and Truth podcast on YouTube and through through Twitter, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing about nothing. I don't know why I try and do that. I don't do it as good as him. Anyway, I'm sharing my screen now. So don't you worry. Hold on. I'm the one that tries to hone in on professionalism and being ready, but I'm not even ready. Okay, I'm ready.
And I had this atheistic epiphany. All of a sudden it occurred to me, it didn't matter if you were a Christian, if you were a Muslim, an atheist, we're all in the same movie theater. We're all watching the same meaningless cartoon. Here we are on the verge of a national Christian holiday, and all we're doing is entertaining ourselves to death. There is no God. There is no meaning. There's no transcendence. I'm going to kill myself. And as I got that twisted sense of courage to take my life, fully intending to kill myself, I aimed that car at the viaduct, and the presence and the power of Jesus filled that car. Now, I wouldn't have used those words at the time, but I had a supernatural, divine encounter with the God of the universe, and he steered me to safety in that moment. That experience wasn't enough to convert me to Christianity. It was enough to get me home that night.
Okay. Before we get in actually to it, and he will retell this. They like to section off a certain little good part of it, but he'll retell this so it'll have more context. Exactly. Immediately, I'm like, no. It's almost like the immediate extreme. I'll shut up. I won't, because when he gets into the depth of the story, because he'll retell that part again, it's like, that was the most extreme. Oh, there is no God. I'm just gonna kill myself. Like, really? And I, not to shame anyone. Let me draw back a little bit, because if that was your case, you found yourself in that situation, that is nothing to be made fun of. Completely understand. But the way he tells his story, so you'll have more context as you listen to that section. It's like, are you fucking serious? Like, for real, for real. For real, for real. But I digress. Moving on. I know. Anyways. Let me skip over this intro.
Podcast, and today I'm joined by another special guest, York Moore. Welcome, York.
Hey, Lisa, good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Good to have you on. Me and York are new friends. I'm excited to have him on. Once I heard his story, I was like, you have to come on the podcast. This is amazing. Before we get into your testimony, just tell our audience a little bit about who you are.
Well, I'm York Moore. I've been with a ministry called InterVarsity Christian Fellowship for the last 26 years. I live just north of the greatest university in America, the University of Michigan. Go Blue. Been married for close to 25 years, 3 kids, one in college, one who just graduated high school, and another one in elementary school. So I'm paying out of both pockets for college and for elementary school. So.
Well, thank you for joining us. I'm not sure if I can agree with University of Michigan being the best university, but we won't make that a thing now. But I'm so excited to have you. Your story is.
Let me just say one thing, because I was bitching about this last night when Oz had a similar stream with this woman. So this woman here, forget her name, I think it's Lisa. She is the founder and president of Jew 3 Project YouTube podcast. Why the fuck is your mic in your face like that? I'm sorry. That's just irked me so bad. Look at this. Look. Why is it in your face like that? Hashtag not professional. I was like tripping when I saw that. It was even worse when Oz had live streamed a similar talk about Jesus being a myth and whatnot, and it was just like right there. Like, you can only see like 45% of her face. And people make fun of me because this is my mic, if you don't know, and it looks like, a freaking gnat attractor thing. Like, sure, but it's pretty. It changes colors, but it's not in my fucking face. I'm just saying. I digress. I got it out of my system. I just wish someone taught her well. And if someone did, they should be fired. I'm good. I just had to get that out. I apologize. Fuck. Okay.
Just so amazing. How you came to faith really blessed me, and I just want our audience to kind of hear your testimony. So how did you become a Christian, York? I know that is a loaded question, but tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, I'll tell you in three pieces so that I don't talk too long, and so feel free to interrupt, Lisa, as you see fit. But I was not raised in a Christian home, was not raised in a church environment. In fact, my parents were followers of a atheistic philosopher named Ayn Rand, and my first name is Rand. I'm named after this philosopher. And so when we weren't homeless on the streets of Detroit, we would hang a sign on the front of the houses that we would rent, and it would say the Moors, the atheists, and we would have a barrel on the side of our house for burning Bibles and other religious propaganda, as my parents would refer to them as. And so I was steeped in atheism. I was homeschooled because in Rand's philosophy, the state is the great enemy of individuality and creativity. And so my parents kept me home from school. Now, this is in the 1970s where it was virtually illegal to do homeschooling. But they were convinced that had they sent me to public education, that it would have been bad. And this is kind of ironic because both of them were educated to the master's degree level. They both had a master's degree in education, and they were public school teachers. And so, but I'll never forget the day that I heard the voice of God. I was 6 years.
Okay, before he gets there, let's just break apart that first one. And I'm going to put this up because Andrew called it. I call bullshit. I was raised up in a super atheistic home, steeped in atheism, where we burned Bibles by the mailbox. I mean, fine if that was true, but why is it that when a person that was started out as an atheist, maybe, and then once they converted into a religion, their backstory is like the most extreme. Like, I was just the worst atheist. I was the hard, bad atheist. My parents were hard, bad atheists. They were terrible atheist people that homeschooled me, even though they had a master's degree and they were public school teachers, but they still homeschooled me, which makes no fucking sense. And we burned Bibles because we were hard atheists. We were the Moors, and they named me after a female philosopher named Ayn Rand. Cool. It's always the most extreme. And granted, you can hear that most extreme aspect too of when a person comes from, like, for example, Christianity into atheism, where they had the most extreme, type of worse background upbringing. So I'll grant him that. I don't know this guy's life. I can only go based off of what he's verbally telling us. So, fine. I still call a little bullshit, but I'll still call even more a little bullshit, and which will make Andrew's statement a bit more relevant once he goes into when he saw the Lord. I really wish I had some soundbite music. God damn it. All right.
Old. I was sitting in the bathtub playing with Rubber Ducky and Battleship, minding my own business, when all of a sudden I heard the voice of God. And no one had to tell me that this was the voice of God. I just intrinsically knew that this voice that was speaking to me was my creator. I might not have known the right language at the age of 6, but I knew who it was that was speaking to me. And so I started engaging in this conversation, and thinking nothing of it. It felt very natural, very normal. I felt connected to this voice. And my parents came in, and they said, "Well, who are you talking to, Rand York?" And I said, "Well, I'm talking to God." And they said, "Oh, we thought we told you that there is no God. That people who believe that God exists, they're weak intellectually. That they manufacture this idea of a deity to help them through life. It's like a mental crutch." And so I thought for a minute, and I said to my parents, I said, "So there's no God?" And they said, "Nope, there is no God." And so they left the bathroom, and being the naive 6-year-old I was, Lisa, I had to at least finish the conversation that I was engaged in. So I looked back up at the ceiling, and I said, "God, my parents say you don't exist, so I have to stop talking to you today."
How the fuck did you know this? Exactly that, babe. At 6 years old, recall, 6 years old, in bathtub, rub-a-ducky battleship, rub-a-dub-dub, playing around in the tub. And he hears the voice of God. I have some questions. First of all, God's a pervert. Second of all, which God? I'm going to place a disclaimer and say it's probably the Christian God. But that just seems way too convenient. Which God? And first of all, you're 6 years old. I thought your parents were hard atheists, Bible-burning atheists. How did you even know of God? Of any God? Let alone a Christian God? Because, I mean, he's a Christian now. I don't understand how a 6-year-old boy playing in his tub, rubber ducky, battleship, hears the voice of a man, because we attribute the Christian God as male, most cases with Christianity. So there you go. How would he know that voice? And it always has to be the phrase, oh, it was instinctive, inherent. I knew it was his voice. I knew it was God speaking to me. You're like, hey, Rand, what's up? Rubber ducky battleship? What's good? Want me to scrub you back? Like, why? Why in that situation would God introduce himself into your life that way? And then two, how the fuck did you know it was him? And how the fuck did you know it was the Christian one? Especially if your parents, being hard atheists as they were, I doubt they would even teach you of any particular God, let alone a Christian one, let alone any specific one, no less. How did you know this? That's where you can call bullshit. I can't even recall what the fuck I remember at 6 years old. I cannot tell you. I can't tell you. And don't give me this whole profound, great memory BS either, because we don't have that shit. The most dramatic of events, we just remember just exactly. No, we don't. This is just, I hate these types of anecdotal beginnings of stories because it just adds to the whole testimony of this is how I proved my God exists. Yeah, your imaginary God does exist in your head when you were playing Rubber Duckies in Battleship. That doesn't prove biblical God or Quran God or Torah God or any fucking God. That does not prove that. That's you and your imagination as a child in a tub, Rubber Ducky, Battleship. Because everything else before that, that led up to that point of you expressing your first encounter with God, does not follow. Especially since both your parents were hard atheists, according to you, and did not abide by any faith, according to you, and burned Bibles on a daily, according to you. I don't know. Sus to me. Oh, my bad, Pat. Pat says 100% proof. Well, pack up your things, y'all. Time to go. Ay.
And that began the first day of the next 14 years of my life, living as if there is no God. And perhaps some of your listeners, they can identify with that. When you try to live your life outside of a relationship with your Creator, it just doesn't work. We were designed to have a relationship with God. And so over the next several years, a number of things that very predictable things, our family fell apart. My dad got into selling and using drugs. We became homeless again. And I found myself living in a part of the Detroit area called Inkster, which in my mind is worse than being homeless. Inkster is a very, very harsh place, lots of homicides, toxic fumes. It was at the height of the crack cocaine pandemic. And so it was a very hard time to be a young man. And, I did all the things that young men do in those kinds of environments, took advantage of women, partied, was very dishonest, lots and lots of things. And I remember waking up at the end of my second year in high school, and I had averaged a straight D average. And my parents always tried to persuade me to go to college, and not only just to go to college, but to go to a great college. And I remember waking up at the end of my second year and with a straight D average, and I said, if something doesn't change, I'm going to wind up on drugs like my dad, on the streets, in prison. All of my options for the future, Lisa, looked pretty hopeless. And so I made a change in the flesh. And we don't need Jesus to change our lives. We can change our lives just by doing P90X or keto or whatever. But if we want to actually have an eternal change, we need Jesus. Now, I didn't know that at the time, so I simply made a change in the flesh. I cut my hair, changed my wardrobe, asserted myself in school, and I became a straight A average student for the last two. So you got 2 years of straight B's, 2 years of straight A's, which gets you not very much. And so I graduated with a pretty poor GPA, but I still applied to the greatest university in America, the University of Michigan, go Blue. And, when I applied, I'm sure there was laughter in the admissions office as they got my application. I got a rejection notice pretty quickly. And my mom, when she read the rejection letter, she said, "I'll take care of this." It's a true story. She literally drove up to the university. She went to the admissions office and she begged them to reconsider. And she made a case that I had changed my life, and I had come from this disenfranchised, upbringing, but I was ready to be serious. And so I was admitted under a probationary status, which meant if I burped in class, I was going to be out on my ear.
Okay. I'm kind of running through most of what he's talking about because I'm just going to cover this whole spiel of him talking about his conversion and stuff, which is because that's all that fucking matters. To Pat's point, yes, he is very, very fucking dismissive of homelessness because as what he pretty much stated was like, oh, I got into homelessness again, which means you were in homelessness before. It is so very just suave of him just to go over that instance of his life. And of course, the typical hardship of, if you don't have Christ in your life, you end up homeless, or if you don't have Christ in your life, you end up on drugs, or you end up mistreating women or using women and blah, 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 blah. Because you don't have no moral grounding. Where are your morals? You might as well just do bad things, just do bad things, just do bad things. Oh, I'm so tired of that. And I'm sure y'all are tired of that too. But then he contradicts himself and proves that you really don't need Jesus Christ to turn your life around. Because he, like he said, made a change of the flesh, cleaned himself up, brushed his teeth, did his hair, put on nice clothes, maybe spritz on some deodorant and cologne, went to school, actually focused on his schooling, got good grades, and graduated. All by looking prettier. I mean, cool, if that's what happened. I guess he didn't need a God for that, though. So I think he kind of just, fucked himself over by saying, I didn't need Christ to change my life around, even though I changed over it in the flesh. Okay, fine. And then he states, oh, you only make a true change if you make an eternal change. And that's, of course, through God. So it sounds like you can just do like he said, a P90X workout and then pray to God at the same time just to, get your life right. Oh, shit. It's like I read your mind, Elliot. For a minute, he compared accepting Jesus to getting P90X videos. He did, didn't he? I still call bullshit. I call bullshit because it just seems so convenient that all the troubling things just led to, him finding Christ and his own weird. Oh gosh! And once you hear the final part of him finding Christ, it's just infuriating. But he just, God, this is like my fourth time listening to this, and I'm just like, he just sounds so arrogant. That's my vibe. I don't know what you guys feeling, but he just sounds fucking arrogant to me.
And but when I went to college, I fell in love with the whole university, the whole idea of learning, the academic rigor. I became an honors student in multiple departments, and I didn't go to college for the normal reasons, to meet a great girl or to get a degree that would lead to a financially secure future. I went to college to discover the meaning of the universe. And here's why. Because if there is no God, there's no transcendence, there's no ultimate meaning to the universe, why live? If there's no God, then where does meaning come from? And so I studied philosophy because I thought, out of all of the disciplines, the philosophers would probably be the closest to understanding truth and reality. Boy, was I wrong. And I also studied psychology and focused on research methodology, statistical analysis, and these kinds of things. And after 3 years of studying this question, can we have meaning without God? I came to the conclusion that you can't. In fact, I'll never forget, I turned my honors thesis into the chair of our department. And it was basically my conclusion, atheistic existentialist conclusion. There's no God. When we die, we cease to exist. And the best that we can hope for is moment-to-moment pleasure.
Atheistic existential conclusion. Ooh, big words. Let me take a drink for that. Hold on. Pretend there's music. Excuse me. Atheistic intrinsic conclusion. There is no God. # kill yourself. Why is that the most extreme? Again, let me, you know what? If I have to scroll all the way the fuck up to find Aunt Jer's original I call bullshit and star that shit, because I'm just gonna flash it on the screen every fucking time. Because there it is. I found it. There we go. I call bullshit. I'm just gonna flash that up every fucking time, Aunt Jer, because this is just perfect. Everything about this is bullshit. And to your point, I'm choking tonight. Excuse me. To your point, AA, I saw that. Both his parents were highly educated public school teachers with master degrees, and they were homeless. Like, granted, maybe present life today, that I would probably buy that. But back then, considering how old this guy is, I mean, he's like in his 50s or whatever. Huh? Both your parents are highly educated individuals. I call bullshit in the fact that you were homeless at any point in time in your life. Honestly, I'm just gonna say that right now. I don't believe that shit for nothing. Atheistic existential conclusion, not to be confused with EAC, East Australian Current, the movie Finding Nemo. Thank you, Randolph. I just don't. I don't get that. And then to have this, to further his testimony about, oh, I was, got into philosophy, found out that was a mistake, but still learned a little bit from it, and then come to this like nihilistic conclusion all of a sudden that, because my atheist brain, I can't understand that I can't survive without anything else but a God. Again, I don't even know how you got across to that, because again, when we listen to his backstory, he doesn't reference ever going to church. He doesn't reference his parents ever teaching him about any gods. The only reference about it would be them burning Bibles in a barrel outside of their front yard. Not actually him teaching, but the one time when he was 6 years old playing rubber ducky in a battleship in the tub, they had said to him, there is no God. And we told you dumb people only believe in God because they're weak. But that's not teaching anything. He has no shared experience of anyone actually going to church or taking him to church or listening or reading scripture. He referenced nothing close to that. How the fuck did you find out about God? You'd think there would be some distinction of someone saying it to him in passing or having a friend that often went to church and he got curious. Nothing. It's just all of a sudden, boom, God, intrinsic. That doesn't follow. Which is why I call bullshit. Moving on.
I'd also just, crossed over the greatest fraternity in America, the Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. I was, having my moment in the sun. I was a neophyte on the yard, going to all the step shows, and the ladies seemed to like that a lot. And so I was having more success than normal with the ladies. I was at the top of my academic game, the top of my social game, and yet there was an emptiness in my soul that couldn't be filled with all of the stuff that I was trying to fill it with. And so I said, why don't I just go ahead and kill myself? Because it really doesn't matter if I die and cease to exist tomorrow or 100 years from now. If nihilism is the ultimate reality, then why live at all? And I was a striver, Lisa. I was always trying to do great at school, great at work, in the fraternity, with friends and these kinds of things. And when I turned this paper in to the chair of our department, I'll never forget, I walked to the car and a blast of cold Michigan air. You don't understand this down there in Florida. We have this thing called winter up here. And a blast of cold Michigan air swept the parking lot. And with that wind, I heard the voice of God for a second time. And the Holy Spirit, I wouldn't have called it that at the time, but the Holy Spirit said to me, why do anything? Why do anything? Why strive? And I didn't have an answer for that. And so I said, well, I don't have an answer. And so I should probably figure this out, or I should take my life. And so I went on a
I don't have an answer. So, I'm just going to take my life. What? Why he's so fucking extreme? To answer your question, Oz, no. He never did. He'd never had any experience with drugs or never been in jail. It was always, his thing was women. He had a thing for women, okay? It was women, all right? Maybe he had an STD. I don't fucking know. But what? I felt a gust of Michigan wind. And God asked me, what are you doing? And I said, I don't know. Fuck it. I'll die. What? Why is that the most extreme point? You literally went from 0 to 11. And again, how do you even know it was God? How were you introduced to God? Who told you about God? Who told you about a soul? Clearly, this is just straight, straight favoritism to Christianity. Who told you about that? We're missing something here, sir. We're missing a big picture part of this story of yours where someone told you about Christ or God or whatever. You can't just go rubber ducky bathtubs, heard a voice, and then heard another voice say, oh, I felt him in the gusts of Michigan wind. Boom. He asked me a question. I didn't know it. So I guess I'm going to take my life. We're missing something. We're missing a portion of this math problem because I can't solve this shit. Which again is more of a reason why I call bullshit. Because I can't understand how you went to point A to point C. We're missing B. And the B stands for bullshit because I'm sure that's bullshit too. We're missing that. I don't understand where all that space and time of him knowing the voice of God. And again, it's all anecdotal. There's no proof of this. It's all based on you experiencing something you thought was someone in your ceiling talking to you, and then also in the Michigan winds one winter evening. This is not a testimony. This is just bullshit lies. This is just something to inspire someone that's can't tell the difference between bullshit and bullshit and bullshit. Oh, but it gets worse.
Interviewing spree because I had, read the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads and the Quran. I looked at world religions, and I knew that out of all of the possible gods, if I was wrong about any of them, I'd probably turn out just fine. I'd have lots of opportunities with Buddha or Krishna. I would be absorbed into the Brahmin, or I'd be reincarnated as a cat or something worse. But it was only Jesus. It was only Jesus that I would have a problem with, because the Bible says it's appointed unto us once to die, and then.
Oh, okay. See? The bullshit has revealed itself. It was only Jesus that I would have a problem with. Not when I read the Quran. No. Not when I read about that one Indian god. No. Not when I read about, all these other faiths that I just kind of was like, nah, they don't scare me. Jesus, though, he scares me. Oh, Jesus, scary. Yeah, the bullshit is surfacing now. Smells just like shit. And you're right. Secular rarity. Anecdotal evidence equals no evidence. Now we're understanding why you're having a bit of favoritism in this department. Especially since you have no prior history of any type of anecdotal encounters with your family or friends or anyone else that showed you these things, that took you to church, that showed you the Bible, that told you what a soul was. How convenient.
To face judgment, and what we do with Jesus determines our forever. And so I knew that if the Christians were right, I was going to be in big trouble. So I focused my search on Christians, and I went on an interviewing spree. I sat down with Christians, asked them why they believed in God. Boy, was that a mistake. I found that the vast majority of Christians have absolutely no reason to believe in the God that they say they believe in. Most cultural Christians. I had a pastor friend who, I went to church because the ladies at the time were easier to get along with in the church than they were in the world. And so I had a pastor friend named Dave, and I sat down with Dave. I said, Dave, how do you know God exists? And he says, well, York, it doesn't really matter if the Bible is God's word or if Jesus was really born of a virgin. How can we know such things? Now, at the time, I had no idea that there were liberal Christians who denied the very power of God and merely identified with the cultural, social ramifications of the gospel. To me,
oh, this is my first time catching this. This is my first time catching this. Because he just stated that he had a problem with talking to Christians, but then come to find out these Christians were liberal Christians. Oh, how convenient. It was only disfavorable because they were liberal Christians. So at that time, you still won't lean to the Christian faith. You're about ready to, but you're not yet, because you found liberal Christians. They're more about the social bullshit that you weren't really in favor of. That makes sense.
that seemed like a colossal waste of time and energy. If there is no God, just be an atheist. You just acquire as much power and wealth and pleasure as you possibly can. But at the time, it just never occurred to me. So I thought to myself, he's thrown off an entire foundation of his belief system. He has nothing to say to me. And so he gave me some books and I went on my way. Now, the last thing that I did, Lisa, is that I thought, well, maybe God can speak for him or her or itself. And so I began to pray. Never let an atheist tell you that we don't pray. We all pray. And, I started each day for several days, maybe a couple of weeks. I would cross my arms and I'd say, okay, Allah, Buddha, Krishna, he, she, it, whoever you may be, show me the money. And I was looking for the Burger King, your way, right away kind of answer from God, skywriting, the angel Moroni to show up at my front door. I was looking for something to demonstrate to me that God exists. Now, looking back, I do believe that God was speaking to me in very, very powerful ways, but I didn't have the spiritual eyes to see or the ears to hear. I missed all of what God was trying to say because I was trying to define God in a very specific way on my timetable on my terms. And it all came to a head December 24th, 1989. And so I'm obviously dating myself. I'm sitting in the movie theater watching The Little Mermaid, not on DVD, not on stream. I'm in person. And I had this atheistic epiphany. All of a sudden, it occurred to me, it didn't matter if you were a Christian, if you were a Muslim, an atheist, we're all in the same movie theater. We're all watching the same meaningless cartoon. Here we are on the verge of a national Christian holiday, and all we're doing is entertaining ourselves to death. There is no God. There's only The Little Mermaid. There is no meaning. There's no transcendence. I'm going to kill myself. And so I dropped my fiance off at her home on Christmas Eve. And I got my Kappa red sports car with the gold wheels going 90 miles an hour down the freeway. And my plan was to smash my car on the viaduct near our home in Inkster. And as I got that twisted sense of courage to take my life, fully intending to kill myself, I aimed that car at the viaduct, and the presence and the power of Jesus filled that car. Now, I wouldn't have used those words at the time, but I had a supernatural, divine encounter with the God of the universe, and he steered me to safety in that moment. I'm the original Jesus take the wheel story. I should be getting royalties on the check on that, but I haven't seen any checks yet. The last thing I'll say is that experience wasn't enough to convert me to Christianity. It was enough to get me home that night. And I found myself in a cold sweat, on the verge of having, almost killed myself. I was in a cold sweat. I was shaking. And I thought, I don't know what that was, but I'm going to sleep on it. And so I woke.
Bitch, you chicken shit your way out of killing yourself. That's what the fuck happened. That wasn't God. That wasn't Jesus filling your car to save your life. You chicken shit your way from killing yourself. You know what's really sad? Because I know people, and I don't know of people that have similar stories to share about them coming up to the most dire, lowest points in their life, whether they were believers or not. And they had moments where they thought to take their life because they didn't know what else to do. It's like the most ultimate thing you could do to yourself, which should not be taken as cavalier and just minimal as he is putting it. I call bullshit. I call bullshit because that is the most insensitive shit I ever heard and expressed. You sat in a Little Mermaid movie, which, I take offense because I love the fucking Little Mermaid, okay? That was my shit. That was the first, what was it? When she was in the cave and sang, Above the World or whatever. That was the first song I sang when I was 3 years old, and I would dance on my bed and repeat that movie over and over and over again and just sing the shit out of The Little Mermaid. And I am just embarrassing myself, and I don't give a fuck because Little Mermaid was my shit. So I take offense. Number one. Number two, how can you be so insensitive to say what you just said when so many people, like I said, have been through worse and could not find any other way to escape what they needed to escape. And you have to say some shit like that. No God saved you from running your car into an open duct. You chicken shit your way out of killing yourself. Good for you. Good for you for suddenly having an intuition of, oh, I don't want to kill myself. Let me swerve out the fucking way. Oh, I'm the classic, original Jesus take the wheel. I need my royalties because I didn't commit suicide because Jesus took the wheel for me. I'm glad God had the fucking time to take the motherfucking wheel versus saving someone else who desperately needed the help but ended up killing themselves in the process anyway. I'm glad God had the motherfucking time for your ass. This is really the most insensitive bullshit I have ever heard. And I know people that have been close to that. I think I honestly just want to stop there because I think we get the fucking picture. It's all been 3 times anecdotal evidence of his of finding God. First time in the bathtub, 6 years old, rubber ducky, battleship, pervert Jesus or God, whatever. Same fucking people. Second time, second year in college, where he felt a gush of Michigan wind, asking him a question about what are you doing with your life? I don't fucking know. Ergo, I'm gonna kill myself. Third time, after leaving a Little Mermaid movie, dropping off his fiance, then gonna run himself into a car. Then, oh, Jesus, take the wheel. Didn't happen. Then he found Christ. Now he's a Christian. That's basically it. And I think we're done. Why? Because I am sensitive to the fact that I know people viewing this right now that have come to a point in their life where it would have been the case where they would not be here today. I believe that he believes he had these experiences. But what I and many of you call bullshit on is the fact that he spoke so cavalier about homelessness, albeit him having master level scholared parents. The idea that he knew God spoke to him at a young age, ergo having very hard atheistic parents that burned Bible in a barrel in the front yard, not having any references or experiences that he expressed of friends, other family, or any individuals that either brought him to church, told him about the word, or went to like a university that teach the word of God. And how convenient that he settles on Christianity. How utterly fucking convenient. And it makes sense because, I don't know, the place you live, where you grew up, the fact that you were born and raised in America, and this is a predominantly Christian nation. So, yeah, makes fucking sense. R. York Moore, your story is fucking hilarious. But it's also just motherfucking wrong. And I can just hear you now as a preacher explain away that if it wasn't for God that saved you, if it wasn't for having a religion or a God or Jesus in your life, you would not be here today. So everyone should be graced with the power of the Christian Lord Jesus Christ and give their life to that, or else they will live a horrible life of women and drugs and alcohol and all this other bullshit stuff. That is so typical. So fucking convenient and typical of any apologist I've ever fucking heard. And you have the fucking balls to say it in an interview. Fuck you. I don't know how people like that live with themselves. And I honestly feel that the most honest people that I know are ones without faith. Because they don't just bullshit you and tell you shit just so you can be inspired by their testimony. I tell you now, I've been a Christian most of my life and only been an atheist 4 years now. And that is the worst bullshit testimony I have ever heard. The most insensitive. non-caring testimony I've ever heard. And if anyone thinks that is at the least bit convincing a proof of a Christian God, then you're ignorant of your own critical thinking skills. You're insensitive to people that are on the verge of homelessness or are homeless. And you are downright wrong for even considering that a Jesus take the wheel moment saved this man's life. He saved his own pitiful life because he chicken shit his way out of it. I hope people are not inspired by this man's story. I really hope so. It's scary to me to think that anyone, and mind you, like I said at the top, he is or used to be, I think he recently retired from it, but he did it for so many years, a collegiate preacher. He would go to colleges preaching the word of God to students so they can be influenced. And I'm sure he told this story many times. That's scary. I just hope that, whoever has seen that video or is watching it now, take care of yourself. If you are in your deconstruction or deconversion, take care of yourself. I but one instance had a situation where I wanted to take my own life. And it was fairly recent. And I know some of you and others that I don't know of have had those same instances, whether it was really recent or long ago. I'm sorry that it took that much to get you to that point. I hurt for you. I would never, ever allow a person to be this insensitive and ignorant about something like that. I hurt for you. Which makes me feel even more empowered to show this kind of shit. So that people know the bullshit around people trying to convince others to come to Jesus. Really? This is your convincing moment? I'll leave you with this and saying that my hope in doing solo streams or streams with Oz or any other channel that I have association with or with friends I'm encouraged to keep doing these, and I'm excited to do it because I'm discovering more. These Black Christian apologists are like no other I've ever witnessed or seen. And I've consistently been listening to Esther. If you don't know her, the Afro-humanist, bomb ass shit. Go subscribe to her if you haven't. Like, she's killing it. It's important to show these things and talk about it because we can see how damaging it is, even for me, in listening to this. And my goal, as I once expressed many times, and I actually talked about with Oz last night, is to, if I can reach one person that sees me talking or one of these videos that I do and feels encouraged to deconvert from toxic religion, then I know I'm doing something right. I hope if you're listening to this and you've wiped your eyes and settled, got your hot tea, relaxed, found yourself in a good place, I hope you feel encouraged. I hope you find your strength to be your most authentic self and not listen to this bullshit ever again.
Yeah. This is for all you non-philosophizing black sheep, unwelcome, pushed to the side motherfuckers like me.
Fuck what they say. TANG gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah. Fuck what they say. TANG gang, Atheist Your Way. Let's get down to business. These bitches got glitches. And you thought you'd dismiss us? Nah. Now I'm laughing in stitches. See, the problem be, it'll be a tragic travesty to come after me. So just know this is how we get down. Respect that shit like a pronoun, bitch. Yeah, fuck what they say. TANG gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah, and fuck what they say. TANG gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah. Fuck what they say. TANG gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah. Fuck what they say. TANG gang, Atheist Your Way.